My name is Kwabena Chencheni Boati. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today. To our very first story, desire and scores of litigants, lawyers and police prosecutors were today stranded at courts across the country as staff of the Judicial Service began a nationwide strike over government's failure to harmonize their salaries. JUSAC began the strike despite a warning from the Labour Minister that the action was illegal. The workers are protesting government's failure to consolidate their salaries and pay outstanding allowances. Let's go live now to the court and find out what the situation there is. And we start from Kumasi in the Ashanti region, from where Prince Apia joins us on the line with the very latest on the ground. So, Prince, what's the situation in Kumasi from where you report?
Kwabena, I can hardly hear you, but if you're asking about the situation in Kumasi...
Indeed. As far as this JUSAC strike is concerned.
Currently, the Court of Appeal, the High Court... Kwabena?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
The Court of Appeal, the High Court, and all the other smaller courts here in the Ashanti region have been locked down. If you go in front of them, there are red handbands indicating that the strike is in full force. You see so many cars here, but all the doors are locked. Some of the litigants are here stranded, and they tell me that they came as early as 6. They thought they were going to have their cases heard, but the information they are getting is that they only have to contact their lawyers for the date to be rescheduled or postponed to another day. But today, nobody is working, and they are here. They are very much stranded, and none of the court officials as well will want to speak to the media or anybody at all. What they are saying is that they are waiting for their grievances to be heard. Kwabena.
Right. Many thanks for that update, Prince Apia, with that report from the Ashanti region as far as that JUSAC strike is concerned. Let's now head to the Upper West region and see how the strike is affecting people in that region as well. And joining me now on phone from WA is regional correspondent Rafiq Salam with details. So, Rafiq, can you tell us what the situation at your end is? Is it the same as what you are hearing in Kumasi and other parts of the country?
The situation is the same in the Upper West region. Let me tell you that I visited 2 courts. There were Petty Court and then also there were Magistrate Court. And I can report to you that these 2 courts, the litigants are left stranded, and then and even the courts are not even open, and all of them are also closed. And so the situation is not the same, and the people are really worried about the situation.
Let's look at the numbers of people who are stranded at your end as well. I mean, are the numbers as huge as we are being told they are?
Yes, we have a sea of people right here, especially at the One Magistrate Court this morning. You know, the court was scheduled to hear that case against that police constable who's alleged to have raped and also assaulted primary 5 pupils at Mango. And so the court was supposed to sit on the case. And so several school children and also their tutors were at the court to see the trial. But to their disappointment, that case couldn't come off. There was another case that many people were also interested in, which has to do with that 5-year-old who was also alleged to have been defiled 50-year-old. So these were 2 cases that were supposed to be heard today, but they couldn't come on.
Right. Rafiq Salam, many thanks for that update from the Upper West Regional Capital, WA there. Let's come back here to Accra, where we also know that scores were unable to get the justice they so desired, as the situation was not different from what has been reported elsewhere in the country. My colleague Kwetinati has been speaking to some people who were earlier today stranded at the courts this morning as a result of the strike by Judicial Service workers.
I heard it yesterday night on radio. But I decided to come and then have a look at it, whether it is true or not. It has affected me a lot. Why? Because I'm here purposely because of my land case. And the case is supposed to be proceeding today, hearing today. So, in fact, it has affected me a lot because today, so far as they are on strike, I don't know when they are coming back. And even if they are on strike, the gate's supposed to be open, and then a date has to be fixed for us. But nothing. So I don't know my whereabouts now. If the government knows that actually it was because of their salary, then the government, the law enforcement, have to do something about it. And then the government is supposed to solve their problem for them.
I've been affected in so many ways because I should have been at my office at now. now I'm here. I knew this case was going to come off, and I got here and I've been told the workers are on strike, So I don't know what is happening. I have to get back to my council and then see what be the next step. If it's affected by strikes and all this, it means that the case is going to still prolong. And that means that you are going to spend more money to get justice served.
I came here around 8:30. The case is supposed to be heard at 10. And I just came to meet everybody standing outside. And it appears nothing is going to happen. My greatest concern is I don't get anybody to talk to, and I don't know when we are supposed to come back again. I have to take the day off because of this case. Now, I don't know what to do because in my schedule for the day, I'm supposed to be on this case. And even if I knew that this case was not coming on, I would have known what to do later for the rest of the day.
Well, away from the courts now, let's do some other stories. And the former National Youth Organizer of the People's National Convention, Abu Ramadan, has indicated that he will be filing for contempt charges against the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, and her deputies. This follows a decision by the Commission that it was not going to delete names of persons in the voters' roll who registered with NHIS cards. Abu Ramadan says the Electoral Commission is deliberately misinterpreting the ruling of the country's highest courts.
Clearly a deliberate move or deliberate attempt by the Electoral Commission to misinterpret the orders of the court and flout the court in it. Because by virtue of their misinterpretation, they want to get away with not implementing the orders of the court. In consultation with my lawyers, I've instructed that we proceed and explore the avenues available to us. Which one of it is to bring them before the court in a contempt suit. When you read the entire document, don't read bits and pieces that have been thrown out in the media for propaganda purposes. Let those who want to do propaganda keep doing their propaganda, and then let those who want to stick to what the law has said or what the judges have said, let them stick to it. If you read parts of it, you will not understand what the judgment of the court is. You will certainly be confused, as I believe the Electoral Commission is. But when you read the actual ruling of the court in its entirety and you come even to the orders of the court, it is without that the order of the court for the Electoral Commission to delete and give opportunity to every person that is deleted who used the health insurance the opportunity to come back and re-register.
Former Attorney General Ayiko Otu is meanwhile cautioning the EC against its decision not to delete the names of persons who registered onto the roll with NHIS cards. Ayiko Otu believes the Electoral Commission will be in contempt of court if it chooses to selectively implement the ruling of the Supreme Court on the issue. He spoke to me a while ago on News Desk.
I think he is right. You see, we have to read the judgment as a whole. And it seems to me that some of these social commentators have done some disservice. In fact, when the ruling came out, and he said it had published it on his website, it became clear that what the Supreme Court said was that the EC should delete, or to use a common parlance, all those who did not or clean the register by making sure that those there are those who are entitled in accordance with our constitution and the laws to be on the register, and that anybody whose name is deleted could be given the opportunity to again register. There were no categories actually stated, though they could be inferred.
Next week, I've instructed the lawyer, so next week we'll be heading to court. But the thing is, the issue of retrospective effect and all of that, you see, it is all in the ruling. The Supreme Court justices took pain and time to address all of those issues. So that one doesn't come to play. That's why the judges of the court said it will be fair, it will be unfair by law for them to say When in 2012, the CS72 mandated or gave opportunity to people to register using health insurance, which was legal at that time, and they did so. Today that it is illegal for you just to delete their name and not afford them the opportunity of re-registration. It will be fair. It will be unfair on the part of law. That's why the court has given them the opportunity to say, delete and come out of re-registration.
You had former Attorney General Ayiko Otu and the former PNC National Youth Organizer Abu Ramadan suggesting that he was going to head to court next week to file contempt charges against the Electoral Commission. To the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi now, and we are told that the police commander in the Ashanti region has placed a 5,000 cedi bounty on the heads of some robbers who killed a policeman and robbed a hotel at Atrima de Chemoso in Kumasi on Thursday. Corporal Frank Asa was shot several times in the ribs in his vehicle at the premises of Open Space Hotel. Eyewitnesses say the officer was shot immediately he entered the premises of the hotel. Ohiminteria has more.
Information I placed from the hotel, that is Open Court Hotel, is that the police officer was actually not on duty at the hotel, but rather he could be one of the patrons of the facility. At about 8 p.m. last night, that is when the robbers, about 3 of them masked and armed with AK-47 assault rifles, stormed the hotel and demanded that the workers surrender all the money in their possession to them and also lead them to the rooms of guests at the hotel. But as the 2 receptionists on duty delayed in leading the robbers to the guest rooms, the robbers shot one of them in the arm. So he was asked to lie down on the bare floor. So one of the receptionists asked, he attempted to move to one of the rooms to bring all these things in possession. He managed to scale a wall, and where he ran to the police station as a and informed police of this robbery incident. But I must say that the robbers did not only strike at the hotel, but also residents passing by in front of the hotel also had their fair share of the raw deal of the robbers. 2 of them, for instance, the 2 gentlemen were ambushed and forced to enter the hotel premises, asked to lie down, and their mobile phones and money were taken from them. So the police officer, I was told, entered the hotel after a few minutes after the armed robbers have ambushed the police. So they shot him in the process. They did not even allow him to get out of the vehicle. He bent the vehicle, but he was shot in the process immediately when he opened the door. I've seen a couple of pictures at the scene, and it's very, very traumatizing and horrible that the police officer will be killed in such a manner. He was actually, he had a police uniform, a trouser, and a mufti top. But the police, the top uniform was actually hanging on the front seat, passenger side of the vehicle, and that is where he was shot. But I must say, when I've been to the hotel, and here I've seen the workers trying to scrub the place and also clean the blood-stained ground, blood-stained premises of the hotel, because one of the staff who was shot in the bar had the blood all over the place, and the police officer too was also died in his vehicle. So as we speak now, the commander of the SWAT unit, Superintendent Komega, is leading a team of police officers to the scene. They just left the scene now, and I've also heard a word, I've picked a word that the regional police command has put 5,000 Ghana cedis bounty on whoever will help find the robbers.
Let's still stay in the Ashanti region, where we are now told that a ban has been placed on religious broadcasts in public places at Abuabu No. 2, following violent clashes between 2 Islamic youth groups there. The clashes between the Tijaniya and the Al-Sunnah Muslim groups at Abuabu left 2 persons injured and property worth thousands of cedis destroyed. Joy News has gathered the clash started as a result of an insult followers of the 2 sects traded on Facebook. Erastus Asaridonko has more.
It's as a result of religious intolerance on the ground. We have public preachers, Islamic preachers, and one of them is very vocal, one Malamanas, and who people are pointing, accusing fingers that he belongs to the Al-Sunnah, and his preaching sometimes is full of insults of some leaders, which doesn't sit well with the Tijaniya sect of the Abuabo community, Muslim community. And so it points the youth in a certain direction that they start fighting on social media as to who is really a Muslim, a good Muslim, and who preaches according to the Quran. And that is what started the whole fight yesterday. It started on Facebook. Somebody posted a picture of one of the leaders and insulted him. Another commented on it, and then they met the guy outside the mosque and they beat him up. Other side also joined in, and there was a clash. Two vehicles had their windscreens vandalized. One person received a machete wound. The other one is also injured in the head and all that. So that is what has been happening.
Any arrests so far as this very issue is concerned?
Well, the police we spoke with this morning indicate that they have identified some people as the ones who vandalized the vehicles, and so they are waiting for some signals, and they will move in to make some arrests. But then we are also speaking with the original chief imam, and the man at the center of it, Malamanas. He sees nothing wrong with his preaching. He says he's going to continue with the way he preaches. But the original chief imam is calling for a ban on public preaching, such preaching activities in the Abuabo community, in the Kumasi metropolis, as we go into the election. And he wants Regional Security Council to take a critical look at that. He says that he has tabled the concerns to them in a letter before even this incident occurred, but it has not been dealt with. And now that this has happened, he is pretty positive that is going to send signals to the respect to act now.
News Today returns shortly with a lot more stories after these messages. Stay on. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today. To some more stories now, and some Roman Catholic basic schools at Pando in the Volta region are being housed in dilapidated structures. Pupils of Gabi Boys RC Primary School are studying in an ancient building constructed some 100 years ago, while St. Aquinas Junior High School is also accommodated in roofing sheet structures. Fred Kwame has more in the following report.
This weak ancient building, which was the incubator structure for Bishop Herman College, is still being used by Gabi Boys RC Primary School. Portions of the school have developed severe cracks. The floors of the classroom and corridors are wearing off, while some windows are damaged and dangling. The building, which was originally constructed as a 3-unit classroom block, had to be partitioned to accommodate all 6 classes of the school. Some teachers who spoke to Joy News on condition of anonymity said they are worried about the situation and need urgent help. The situation is not very different from the St. Aquinas Junior High School. The school operates from a makeshift iron roof structure. The students were moved out of their initial classroom block, which was demolished to pave way for the construction of a 2-story 6-unit classroom block funded by the GET Fund. The 6 classrooms put up leave the students at the mercy of the weather. However, work on the project has stalled for over 3 months. Addressing a press conference, Father Apollonaris Anyomi said the current environment in which the pupils study is not conducive.
We are not satisfied with the municipal chief executive's simple explanation that she knows nothing about the project simply because it is the MP, Honorable De La Soas, who lobbied GET Fund for the project, especially when the municipal engineers always visit the project site and even give directives. We are fully aware of the government's efforts to build schools and provide conducive learning environment for our children.
Some parents of the pupils also expressed displeasure about the situation, explaining the lives of their children are endangered in the makeshift iron roof structures.
They are praying that she should come to our aid, because these DSS, they are the best students. About 2 years ago, they get 100%. So we are proud of them. So if they are in the room now and the results come down, it will pain me.
When Joy News contacted the Kwando Municipal Assembly engineer Vincent Akakpo, he explained that work on the 2-story, 6-unit classroom block was stalled because the contractors complained of lack of funds to continue the project. Mr. Akakpo added that the RCA Church is unwilling to make available land and labor.
We have a series of meetings with the RC, a joint meeting, the RCA and the EP, to explain to them the system by which the project was going to be run. And DPMC went back, told them that they have pencil of promise. The pencils of promise told them that they will have to contribute 20% the contract sum of each project, and that will be made through communal labor and some materials supplied by the community. Okay, so along the line, EP has started something. They were able to fetch some sand. You know, with the pencils of promise, your materials that will fetch on site will motivate them or give them assurance that you are able, or you will be able to do, you are prepared to do the job with them. So when EP got to a stage in the fetching of the materials, they came in and then we canceled for that job to start.
Until the LC Church provides land, pupils of the Gabi Boys RC Primary School will continue to learn in dilapidated ancient structure. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
And in other stories, the Ghana Public Health Association is worried about the menace of the use of aphrodisiacs in Ghana. The association, after its scientific workshop on the effects of the use of aphrodisiacs on human health, concluded the menace of aphrodisiacs has become a serious public health problem. People patronize aphrodisiacs in order to enhance their sexual performance. Now, if you didn't know, let me tell you what aphrodisiacs are. They are variously described as a food or drug that is said to give people a strong desire to have sex or increase libido when consumed. Dr. George Amofa is Vice President for the Ghana Public Health Association, and he spoke to my colleague Francis Aban on the Pulse.
Look at the adverts alone, every morning, every afternoon, evening, all over the place. I mean, throughout almost all the channels. There's a bombardment of from the airwaves trying to convince people to boost their sexual prowess. And the issue is whether there is valid scientific basis for all the claims and whether there are some long-term consequences. I'm not only talking about Ghana, talking globally. It's an established fact that both in the US, in the UK, that aphrodisiacs, and you have to distinguish between aphrodisiacs and medicines used for sexual dysfunction. Okay. There's a distinction between that. Yes, and because aphrodisiacs, as you said, I mean, any drug, drink, or food that is claimed to provide enhancement, I mean, for sexual prowess, usually in a healthy person. And but medicines for sexual dysfunction are actually in situations where there's a medical condition that is diagnosed, and the fact is that quite a number of them are so-called natural and not natural, but quite a lot of them are synthetic, and others have been adulterated by some of the medicines used for the erectile dysfunctions. The U.S. Food and Drug Authority, UK, Canada, Dutch have convincingly come out to actually certify the fact that there are a lot of counterfeit of such medicines in the system. And even Ghana Food and Drug Authority last year actually came out to officially ban about 6 or 7 of such medications. And we are not only talking about herbal things, we are talking about so-called orthodox products. And so it's a combination. And then we are not in any way discounting the fact that there are efficacious herbal and orthodox medicine to address the problem. Now you may not have any effects, and but the long-term consequences may be quite serious. One of the commonest is palpitation. Palpitation is when the heart is actually beating abnormally or very fast. You may actually have bleeding into the brain, which can lead to stroke. You can have an interesting thing, constant erection of the penis. To the extent that we call it priapism. Okay. And it can be such that there has to be a surgical intervention. Okay. And almost invariably it will lead to impotence. Apart from a few other things, cardiac arrest. We are not in any way worried about people who have been diagnosed to have erectile dysfunction or loss of libido, but appropriately diagnosed by a medical practitioner. Then there are protocols to go through, the amount you have to take, the frequency, and the like, and for how long. If a young person just is enticed to move into this at an early stage, for how long will that person continue? And it gets to a stage where there's almost like an addiction in goes. If it is not there, he can't function. That is not right.
A pretty interesting discussion that was, and if you do not know, the Pulse airs on this same channel, your Joy News channel, at 3 p.m. every weekday. So make a date for the next edition of that one, which is later today. But time now for some business updates here on News Today. We're back shortly with those details.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time for business. Government is to institute measures to safeguard exports into the European market. This has become necessary as some West African countries have failed to sign the Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA. The EPA was to primarily facilitate trade between the EU and ECOWAS members. Trade Minister Dr. Ekos Pilgabra said his ministry has put a paper before Parliament to consider ways of facilitating trade between Ghana and the EU.
Nigeria and Gambia have chosen not to sign the agreement, and it was an agreement between ECOWAS as one body and European Union as one body. So when two of your members don't sign, then the body has not signed, even though individual countries have signed. Once they haven't signed, then agreements cannot come into force. So then each country now has to take remedial measures to safeguard their exports, to ensure that the exports can still enter these markets without any penalties. And so we have a paper coming to Cabinet on the options available to Ghana, and with recommendations on which of the 4 or so options that we have on the table that the government should decide, so that Ghanaian exports to Europe will not suffer any impediments or any penalties.
Now, the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Association of Microfinance Companies, Joseph Donko, says it will be unfair for the central bank to pay part of DKM depositors' funds to them. Mr. Donko, who was highlighting aspects of the association's deliberations with the central bank on the way forward for the microfinance industry, said microfinance companies in Ghana are very positive the industry would recover. Governor of the Bank of Ghana had earlier announced they have come far in facilitating the payment of depositors' funds of DKM.
From the association point of view, we think that there's a lot of, there's other companies, let me put it this way, who had also gone through some of these challenges that DKM also went through recently. And so if there's going to be any bailout, we think that we should look at it broadly, because we don't want a situation where DKM is singled out and some sort of relief is paid to DKM customers, because it will bring about other companies' customers also coming to the central bank and say, why is it that we still have our monies with maybe the companies that we work with, but you have paid DKM. This will sort of bring some discriminatory into the industry. Okay. And so we think that if some sort of bailout will come out, the central banks will clearly look at it broadly to include the other institutions so that people will accept.
That's all in business for now. Up next is pause. Meanwhile, join John Kujamakon at 1 p.m. for the marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji-Wiafi. Good afternoon.
And that's how we wrap up on the Friday edition of News Today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenche-Heneboati. Remember, there's a lot more news when you visit www.myjoyonline.com. John Kujamakon is standing by with the marketplace. Many thanks for your company.